Picture this. You're sitting across the table, literally seconds away from a life-changing opportunity. Your pulse is racing, but the exact moment you lean forward, the second you signal that urgent need for it, the prize just pulls away. Over 2 decades ago, Robert Greene actually codified this exact phenomenon in the 48 Laws of Power. Law number 8, make other people come to you. Today, we're diving into the psychological mystery behind this warning. We want to figure out why exactly does desperation act as a repellent, while restraint acts as this incredible magnetic force. I want you to put yourself directly into a high-stakes scenario. You're the main character here. Let's say you desperately want a specific outcome. Maybe it's a new job, a massive client contract, or even a personal relationship. Because you want it so badly, you feel this overwhelming urge to pursue it, right? You want to push, to text, to call, to make that first offer. But the instant you actively start to chase, you're subconsciously signaling to the other side that you need them way more than they need you. You're essentially handing over the psychological keys to the entire interaction. So why does our eagerness instantly shift the balance of power away from us? For decades, this rule, make other people come to you, has been looked at as this cynical, almost dark manipulative trick. But what if it's not a dark art at all? What if it's actually an incredibly profound observation about human decision-making? Today, we're going to treat Greene's claim as a scientific hypothesis. We'll cross-examine it using modern negotiation research and behavioral science to uncover exactly what he understood about leverage and true influence. You see, the anatomy of losing power usually happens in 3 highly predictable steps. Step 1, desire. The stakes are high and you really want the deal. Step 2, action. The sheer anxiety of the unknown pushes you to make the first move, mostly just to resolve that inner tension. And step 3, the result. You lose your leverage. By initiating the chase, you give the other party the absolute luxury of evaluating you. You do all the work, they get to do the judging. To see this play out in cold, hard data, we just have to look at research from the Program on Negotiation at Harvard Law School. The researchers there found a fascinating pattern in how people handle first offers. When people feel like they're in a low-power position, when they're desperate to close the deal, they almost always rush to make the first offer. But out of fear, they end up making this unambitious, lowball offer that immediately anchors them to a terrible deal. On the flip side, high-power negotiators do the exact opposite. They either patiently wait for the other side to reveal their hand, or they strike with an aggressively ambitious offer. The low-power negotiator chases. The high-power negotiator sets the stage. This perfectly illustrates a core concept in negotiation science known as BATNA. That stands for your best alternative to a negotiated agreement. Basically, what happens if you walk out of the room right now? If your alternative is terrible, well, your BATNA is weak, and you're going to feel desperate, so you chase. But if your alternative is fantastic, let's say you have 3 other job offers or buyers lined up, your BATNA is incredibly strong. And here's the secret. A strong BATNA is your greatest source of psychological power. It gives you the absolute freedom to just step back, sit comfortably in the silence, and let the other side come to you. So we know that having options gives you power. But what if you try to fake it? What if your body betrays your lack of leverage before you've even opened your mouth? We are constantly leaking our internal state of desperation to the outside world, completely undermining our own authority without even realizing it. There's this profound insight from Dr. Deborah Gruenfeld over at the Stanford Graduate School of Business. She studies the psychology of power, and she notes that it is having power while feeling powerless that leads people to behave badly. Think about that. When you lack a strong BATNA, when you genuinely feel powerless on the inside, your brain triggers this anxious, impulsive response. You start to over-explain. You try to force the outcome. You end up behaving in ways that actively repel the exact opportunities you're trying to attract. Dr. Gruenfeld's research reveals exactly how this manifests physically. The powerless tend to display these fleeting, jerky, hurried movements. It's the nervous, scattered energy of the chaser. Now, contrast that with the physical expansiveness and the profound stillness of someone who is truly comfortable in their position. Imagine a leader walking into a room wearing a heavy crown. They have to keep their spine straight, right? Their movements have to be deliberate. That kind of stillness non-verbally commands massive respect without a single word ever being spoken. Okay, so we know chasing looks desperate and restraint looks powerful. But this brings us to an even deeper mystery in our investigation. Why does resisting the urge to pursue actually compel others to start chasing you instead? Because it's not just about looking confident. There is a very real psychological trigger at work here. The answer actually lies in the behavioral science of Dr. Robert Cialdini, a pioneer in the psychology of persuasion. Turns out, when you exercise restraint, you accidentally weaponize his core principles of influence. First up is scarcity. By not chasing, your attention appears scarce, and humans are literally hardwired to value whatever is hard to get. Second is authority. Your stillness projects ultimate command of the situation. And third is social proof. People subconsciously assume that if you aren't chasing after them, you must be in high demand elsewhere. You literally increase your perceived value just by standing perfectly still. When we weave all this research together, a really clear, unified theory of power starts to emerge. A weak Bhatna is motivated by the fear of loss. It results in jerky, impulsive behavior, and ultimately it anchors you to a terrible deal. But a strong Bhatna, that's motivated by the freedom of options. It creates this expansive stillness, naturally triggering Cialdini's principles of influence to attract opportunity to you. Powerful people don't chase, simply because their restraint is grounded in the objective reality of having excellent alternatives. So we've looked at the Harvard data on negotiation, we've seen the Stanford research on the psychology of stillness, and we've explored the behavioral science of influence. Which brings us right back to our central question. When Robert Greene originally said, "Make other people come to you," was he just teaching us some dark manipulative trick? Are we just trying to fool people into desiring us?
The answer is a resounding no. Law 8 is much less about manipulating people into coming to you, and entirely about understanding when you are giving your leverage away. It's about building a mindset and a reality where your alternatives are so strong that you never, ever have to act out of panic. True power isn't a trap. It is genuine autonomy. It's the absolute quiet confidence of restraint and the profound ability to simply walk away. So the next time you feel that desperate, anxious urge to chase, will you have the power to stand perfectly still? If this investigation shifted your perspective, be sure to subscribe and join us for our next explainer as we continue to decode the hidden psychology of everyday life.